Genre, as explored by Tudor, is categorized by three themes of examination. Textual themes, the content, style, and tropes of the text. Contextual themes, the known practices surrounding how a text is produced and disseminated. And discursive themes, the way in which an audience or culture responds to a text. Through these three themes of analysis, an understanding can be built of the characteristics audiences associate with current affairs programming. Heralded as a flagship of American current affairs programming and exported internationally through both streaming services and linear channels such as Sky, PBS Frontline occupies a substantial chunk of current affairs viewing. Its prominence, along with its 40-plus year history, position Frontline well to represent current affairs programming as a whole. Current affairs, as defined in 2020 by Chandler and Murray, is, quote, a journalistic genre featuring detailed analysis and discussion normally distinct from news reporting. Of particular interest is the classification of current affairs as something distinct from news reporting. McQueen affirms this in 2014, observing that in comparison to news, quote, current affairs programs had the time and resources to investigate and provide substantial discussion or debate. With each episode dedicating their entire runtime, between 30 and 120 minutes, to a single story, Frontline demonstrates the textual theme of detailed investigation theorized by McQueen. Frontline's 2023 episode, 20 Days in Mariupol, demonstrates clearly the depth of investigation. It saw a locally sourced crew immerse themselves in an active conflict zone for 20 days, filming everything they experienced. The enormous investment of time and sourcing of independent talent fits similar observations on the editorial and cinematic quality of current affairs highlighted by McNair. In the classification of genre, Annette Hill identifies linear scheduling as a key theme in factual television, observing that current affairs programming is scheduled alongside documentary between 8 and 11 p.m. Again, Frontline exemplifies this theme, with its latest episodes being broadcast on PBS from 10 p.m. Critical to this context is the concept of prime-time television, programming that airs between 7 p.m. and 12 a.m., a band with which Frontline's content aligns. Bignell and Woods explore associations with prime-time programming, finding that scheduling is reserved for flagship shows held to a high production value. Looking back to Frontline's 20 Days in Mariupol, we see that it won the 2024 Oscar for Best Documentary Feature, affirming its status as high-quality flagship programming. Frontline shows us that primetime flagship status is at the core of current affairs programming, reflecting the earlier analysis of Hill and cementing it as a contextual theme, activating its genre. Exploring scheduling status through a cultural lens, Frontline demonstrates a key discursive theme in current affairs programming: prominence. McNair points towards a unique awareness in audiences of the reach of current affairs programming and a tendency for that awareness to drive speculation on the health of the genre as a whole. Viewers like Fred Landis comment on how a lack of frontline scheduling on local television is indicative of the trend towards greater political censorship in current affairs. Broad generalizations informed by the reception of Frontline fit the discursive tendencies illustrated by McNair. In conclusion then, through its quality, scheduling, and audience concerns, Frontline demonstrates key textual, contextual, and discursive themes characteristic of the current affairs genre.